See if the
Oh, I
hello.
hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. All right. How's
There you
this? Does
are.
this look good?
Yeah,
All right.
perfect.
Good. All right.
This looks
Good.
great. You sound good. You look good. I'm
Thank you.
happy
I
to have
feel
you on
good.
my computer here.
I'm excited about your podcast. You've been so nice to me, and I can't refuse that.
I appreciate that. I just,
You just love celebrities, I think, or somebody.
it's not just celebrities, it's somebody personal. I'm telling you that I don't just want anybody on my show. That's why I asked you to come on it for
You're so
whatever
sweet.
reason. I see something in somebody and I'm interested in getting to know who they are for real. So
You know,
that's my approach.
I think it's a great approach, and I listened to a few of the podcasts, and it's evident that you care about people and humanity and all those great things, and you're people like you automatically, and you're very sincere, and you should listen to Kara and me on the podcast. It's what's it? Super famous? No, mostly famous? No, uh, very famous? Super famous? Am
Well,
I
you want to
getting
know
close?
why it's really famous?
Yeah, I know.
There's a reason. It couldn't be super famous. It has to be
Okay.
really famous because I'm interested in the real person.
Oh, I love that.
So, obviously you're famous. My other
Yeah.
guests are famous. But to me, just like I explained already, I want to know the real human being. So it's got to be really famous.
All right. Let's do it. I love the dress. Ever since I played a woman, I look at all women's clothing a lot more like it's that fits you so well, not just physically, but your mood and who you are and your coloring and all that stuff.
Thank you. And don't you kind of think that when you're wearing something, it also affects your mood?
Absolutely. That's why I put this jacket on, because I really love this jacket, and I love the turtles, the mutant turtles, the
Oh, I didn't
ninjas.
even see that
Yeah,
it's
it's a
Mutant
ninja
Ninja
turtle.
Turtles.
Yeah,
Now I
mutant
see.
ninja. And so, I what makes you happy, and blue is, a good conduit. So is pink. Blue and pink are humanity love colors, I call them.
I agree. And look, my logo is blue. So here are the
Yeah,
blues that I chose for
yeah.
my
Oh,
logo.
I have a cup collection, so
You do?
I do. I'd love to put you right up there with Regis and Kelly, and Kelly and Michael, and Kelly and um, what's the next? What's
Ryan, is it?
Ryan? Kelly and
Yeah.
Ryan. I have all the Kelly, uh, and I even think I have a Regis and Kathy mug. I've always loved mugs. I drink coffee. I have a Maui Jim's, a Maui Invitational. It's a basketball. Spent a lot of time in Maui in my life. Excuse me, I'll take a little sip.
Yeah, please do. Cheers to that. So,
Cheers to you, and cheers
let
to
me get my
yeah,
mug up here.
cheers
Cheers.
to really famous,
And cheers to Louie Anderson
and
and
cheers to
Maui.
and Cara Mayer, right? Is it Mayer?
It's Mayor,
Yeah,
exactly.
Miss always
So
Meyer, right, with people.
always. And when
Yeah,
not so much anymore, but when I was growing
yeah.
up, it was always Cara. And I really pronounce it Cara because,
Cara, did I
I'm
say
from,
Cara?
no,
I said
but
Cara, right?
yeah, you said
Yeah.
Cara.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of
s-
time, people are, names. I always tell people, when you're going to name your baby, make sure it isn't a burden. Yours is good, but you're right. If there's any doubt in it, that's why I kind of like the names that are phonetically spelled, so that
right.
it's like Lee Ka, or you know what I mean. You hear those names and you go, perfect. You said what you wanted to say.
Exactly. So Louis is very clear. It's very easy to
Yeah,
know. So your
my dad's
parents,
name, by the way.
so I read your book too, but like a
Oh,
year ago I read
oh,
it.
wow,
Is
wow.
that when you wrote it? Is that when it came
Yeah,
out a year
yeah. I
ago?
think it's been about a year, because the paperback, Hey Mom, just came out with a different cover, which I'm really excited about, because it's uh, the front of a refrigerator with magnets and uh, pictures and notes to my mom and that. And so I really love changing it around. I love that book. I just got a bunch of audios. I'd really love you to hear it on audio. So you send me a mug, I send you the book.
You got it.
How does that
Deal.
sound?
That sounds perfect. So as you know, right, so I was reading the book. You probably didn't know this one because I know that you saw that I tagged you in an Instagram post like a year ago and then probably again recently. Yes, again recently. But I remember being at Barnes and Noble one day when I was picking up the book. And I was like, I did a post with me and the cover of your book saying, I just feel like I really want to get to know Louie Anderson. Who can help me?
I think I did see that post. Didn't I
Did you?
respond to it? Maybe I
I don't
saw it,
think s- I
but
don't
I
think you saw
think
that
I
one.
did. Oh, okay. Well,
'Cause-
repost it now.
Well, here's the one.
I'll
I
have
will
to send you
repost it.
now the new book cover, and you can repost that one.
I happily will. So the one that you responded to was last summer. I made a little video clip of my dream guests and I included
Right.
you in it because
That was so
you
sweet.
so I was like, and Louie Anderson, baskets. And you
Yeah.
responded to that. And I was like, amazing, so happy.
And you were
And
so patient with me to get on your show. I appreciate that because I know, I know that people, I'm not an aficionado on social media, but I do like, I have been better about following up with people who personally uh, direct message me. And so you were very persistent and you're just welcoming. You're a welcoming person.
I didn't want to be a stalker though. I was like, it's a fine line between letting you know I really, really do appreciate
I don't think
you.
there's anything stalker about you. So I think you can
Okay.
relax on that.
Okay, good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm thrilled that a year later, here we are. And I think I also heard you on Mark Maron's podcast. You did his
Oh,
show
yeah.
too, right?
I love Mark.
That was a good one too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I told him he
yeah,
should be nice to his mother.
that's
Do you
right.
remember that?
That's right.
I mean, it was out of line in one sense. He was complaining about his mom, and I go, Jesus, I I'd give anything to be having my mom bug me right now.
Yeah. But
Why?
I don't
Why?
think that's out of line. I think that's
No, it wasn't. I knew
honest.
Mark. I know Mark forever, and he's a lovely person. And I'm so proud of him with Glow and everything he's done, and he really is responsible for us having this conversation in a lot of ways.
How so?
I mean, well, he kind of pioneered the podcast. He really did. I mean, people don't maybe give him credit for it, but
That's true.
he pioneered it. I went over to his place. He used to have a place, and I think it was Echo Park or something, and it was really hard for a guy my size to get into it. It was like in the garage. It was downstairs. I don't know where it was. It was in back, and then he's got a new setup. It's very nice, and he is a real person too.
That's why that's why
Yeah,
people love him on the podcast. It's
yeah.
my favorite podcast is his.
Oh,
His is the
good.
one that I religiously listen to.
That's good. Well, I'll have to
Because
have you
he's,
on my podcast. We should just put this recording. If you send me the recording, I'll just release it on my podcast for you if it'll help you.
of course, I would love that. That would be
Yeah, it'd be
amazing.
fun, right?
Yeah, I will send it to
I,
you.
I've
Yeah, go
always
ahead.
thought that people, that's how these should work. If I'm going to do your podcast,
Right.
I should be able to take what you did, but also maybe what we'll do at some point is before we finish it, not today, but maybe I'll just do a new a chunk about you. I'll actually interview you about your podcast and how it started and everything. Let's do
Love
that
it. Let's
because
do
that would be
that.
a lot of fun. That would be a
That
ton
would
of
be
fun.
fun. And I don't mind. I love interviewing and I love listening and I love connecting, but I have no problem talking a lot too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Where are
one of
you
those,
from?
I'm from New Jersey.
Oh yeah, I thought so.
What do you mean?
You guys always snip off your words. I'm from New Jersey. You snip off in a good way. It's not a bad. I'm
Wait,
from.
so tell me more.
It's
How?
just maybe it's the Italian. You're Italian, right? Are you Italian? No.
Not the
Right?
least bit, but I feel
Oh,
100%. Actually,
oh, do
maybe
you? Wait
1%.
a
I
minute.
got my,
Meyer's German then, right?
it's
Mayer.
probably,
German,
The
right?
story goes that my great grandmother came from Austria-Hungary.
Okay, that would make sense too
So
then.
all the borders were different back then
Yeah,
and the
sure.
names. But yes, but I do feel
Yeah.
100%, maybe not 100, but I feel at least 50%
So do
Italian.
you think everybody who lives in New Jersey ends up speaking kind of an Italian, a part of the Italian language or accent?
No, I think there's something
No.
about me I'm so drawn to it, and it was the
No.
kind of thing where when I am in Italy, traveling, visiting, whatever, I definitely feel like I'm home. These are my
I
peeps. Like,
I love Italy. I had the
yeah,
most wonderful time in Italy.
there's just something so, I don't know. I just feel so
People
rooted
walk
there.
arm in arm, man and
Yeah.
man or woman and woman. It's like family. It's
Yes.
like if you're a friend to somebody, you you would walk arm in arm with them out of love. I think just a love. It's the amore.
It is. But I think that's interesting that you said that too, because right, that's the thing that I love also just in life. Like I love that human, that family, the connection. I love family. I'm close to my own family. So there
Mhm.
probably some of it might have to do with that, I guess. But
Maybe it's just the East Coast vibe. You can pick it up,
so
which
tell
is
me now,
fine.
what am I cutting off? What are my words?
I
Uh,
can't. I'm no good at this, but I just got it right away when you said I'm from New Jersey. Just like what'd you say to me? No, you cut me off. No, I'm from New Jersey, I think.
oh, so I cut you off, you mean?
Yeah, you could.
Yes.
I think you do when you. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
find out. I
Yeah.
I
Because
make
I'm
stuff
also,
up. I was an expert before Google came around. I was really smart about a lot of things, but
I
when Google
remember
came,
seeing a
I
t-shirt once. There was a t-shirt hanging at one of these souvenir shops, and there was a shirt that said, I don't need Google. I've got a teenage son. And I was
that's a
like,
great shirt. You could also
um,
make that same shirt. I don't need Google. I just ask my mom.
exactly.
Or just ask Christine Basket. She knows everything.
Okay, so Christine Basket. So you brought her up. I've got to go there with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
When I see and hear Christine Baskets on TV, so I will talk about it in the intro. Everybody's going to know. If they don't watch Baskets already or they didn't watch it, they can see it on Hulu now, right? I heard you say that the other
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
So they can watch on Hulu, and I strongly recommend it. But when I see Christine, I like put my hand to my heart when I'm watching. Like that's
Oh,
how
that's
much
so
it moves me.
sweet.
You move me as
Oh,
Christine,
that's so sweet. That means the world to me.
and I can tell you that I don't.
Chip, Chip, stop it. Do the podcast. Anyway, sorry.
More of that. More
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. She's from it. I do it sometimes. I used to do it in the airport all the time. I'd be walking up the terminal, and go Chip, and people would go because they know that was a big signature thing without even meaning for it to be in the show. I'm, I come from a yelling family, so I know my mom would never yell, but I would yell for someone to, come to me rather than me go to them. So I
That's a
use that,
real.
and it was a really good. It's unsettling when your mother calls out like that to you, especially when you're the Zach's character Chip. It would be unsettling to you to have that. He was so tiny in so many ways with his acting that I was so big in that and loud and obnoxious, but I was his mother, so I could get away with it. But I think it was hard for him as a character, probably. Even though we never
Definitely.
discussed that, he just was such a great actor. He taught me so much.
So you didn't talk about the relationship between Christine and Chip at all?
No,
It
no,
just
we just
happened.
did it. We just did it. Well, I would talk to him as Christine on the set. I didn't talk to him as Louie. I wouldn't. I told people don't call me Louie. You
That's
can
so
call me Mama
interesting.
Baskets or Christine, but I wanted to leave Louie in the trailer. With the before I come onto the set, I didn't really want. Christine was Christine, and I didn't want You know, people always say to me, you played a woman. Like, you're a man playing a woman. I go, you know, I'm a woman playing a woman. I left the man out of my life.
Wow.
And
You were
that was
so
really,
her.
I was so hurt and still love that character and what she gave me. I think, you know, even though I brought her to life, what she gave me was even more than I could have ever dreamed of.
Like how so? What?
Well, that is a character that I think people watch and forget it's me. I think they just forget Louis Anderson's in there. And that's the highest compliment, I would say. You
You
know,
forget it's an actor altogether, I
you
think.
you you
So
think it's a
real.
real person. Yeah, you think it is a real person.
And I think, and I know that you know, I've heard you before talk about how you based her on your mom.
Hmm.
And to me, it's so interesting. I think one of the things I heard you say once was that I think a lot of people know a woman some way like Christine. And
Yeah.
it's, for me, I don't know somebody like Christine, but she
Mm.
rings so true
Well, she must
nonetheless.
remind you of someone, though, and not
No,
necessarily, but maybe her heartstrings or whatever, her
you know what?
humanity or
That's
whatever. You
it.
know, I think
That's it.
it has to be something that draws
When
you.
Yes, when she struggles, like, and you're talking about the how she I love when she calls Chip. All that is so good, and that's so part of her. But when I see her struggling, like I remember when she was trying to like better herself at a certain point, and she was in the she
Oh,
went into the lake. It was a lake, I
oh.
think, right?
No, it was the ocean.
Was it the
It was
ocean?
down in
Okay.
Long Beach in a little bay, but it was such an emotional scene for me. I was crying before and after that scene because I knew what it meant. It was amazing. The writers wrote an amazing scene, and it was night and it was freezing, and they made me take my shoes off to walk in that ocean, and there were divers there in case anything happened, but still, it was just, it was a complete, it was an emotional scene. It was a very, very, I had it, you know, during several um, scenes, I would break down afterwards.
So what would you do? You would break down like where? Would you go off to your
No,
trailer or
I just
something?
sat, I would just, no, mostly I would just sit after the scene. Like there, if I think there might be a shot of it in the scene, I'm just sitting before I go in or standing. I'm crying in one of them. I'm crying
So they just
because we
shot
did a
you.
few takes, you know. So it was just, the character is part of me and part of my mom, part of every person who struggles. So
That's it. Then it's not that she's a familiar person I've seen, you know, at Walmart or something, which is where she would
yeah,
definitely
Costco.
Costco.
Come
Of
on.
course, Costco.
Oh,
Why did I
I
say
can't
Walmart?
believe it. I can't
Oh,
believe it.
I cannot believe I said that.
No, I don't. I'm teasing you. I
Martha would
use
be at
Walmart all the
Costco.
time. I like Martha, for God's sakes. Anyway,
You know
I'm
what I
on
want to
Really Famous. It's a podcast. Chip, I'm finally really famous, Chip. You're not. Anyway,
Okay, so that is obviously going to go at the beginning of the
yeah,
podcast.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
That's
I
good. We're
love
going to
how you start your podcast, by the way.
Oh, really?
I love it.
Who did you listen to, by the way?
I think I listened to Todd, which was really good. It was the first one up there. So, but what Todd said at the beginning, I go, oh, that was good. And then I go, oh, he didn't even mention that while he was doing that. And then Dennis Quaid, because I've been watching um, Goliath, and Dennis is in Goliath.
So you're a collector.
Yeah, I've always been a collector. My mom was a pack rat, so she gave, not a hoarder because we had aisles. So, but she was a pack rat and she collect things and all that nuance, that whole thing in with the DeSanti water. That's how Christine, remember it? And my mom would love, that was right out of her vocabulary. Oh, look
So
at, I could put this in a window, this color blue.
That's right. That's
That was right out of my mom. That was
so
right.
did
That was,
you tell them then? Did you give them these
I
lines?
ad-libbed that stuff. I
Oh.
was just sitting there. We were ad-libbing. Jonathan always let us. So I just started ad-libbing. Same with the curly fries thing, all that stuff on the couch. I pretty much, there was a line to say, but I always tried to enhance it.
So did you think about it before when you were reading the script? It just came
No,
out in the moment
when I
because
saw the
you
water
were being
in the
her, you
blue
saw the
bottles,
water
I
and
saw
you
like your
were,
blue cup, you know?
yeah. That makes sense because that's how it
Yeah.
felt. It felt like it was just
It
coming
felt
out of you.
real, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like it was just coming out of you naturally. So
I
how
mean,
did
that was the
Zach?
gift that was given to me. So that was a gift. And Zach, he just followed right. Sometimes my job, I was just trying to make him laugh and the director and Martha. So I was being selfish. I needed to say something that they didn't expect because that's really good stuff. That seems real, and he'd go right along with it, you know.
He didn't emote that much, I guess, on screen anyway
Yeah.
when he was playing
Well,
Chip, or
yeah.
not Dale.
Remember with was it fudge where there was fudge or something? I made fudge,
I don't remember the fudge.
and I go, why don't you have some fudge? And he finally screamed at me, I don't want to eat fudge, because I kept saying, why don't you have a nice piece of fudge? Because my mom would always say something was nice and inanimate. Why don't you have a beautiful, delicious piece of fudge? My fudge is notorious. That kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it was just fun.
So, I mean, it sounds like fun. So Dale
It was
also,
fun.
like, I could
Dale.
never, Dale, I mean, it was all about Chip, you and Chip. But when Dale would come in, like, I would definitely think those were two different actors too.
I had people ask me on the road who plays Dale.
Really?
Hmm.
They really didn't know?
They didn't know. And I go, no, that's Zach. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see that. But not
What?
always. Not everybody knew. He was so good at it.
Yeah, I mean, so the way he talked even was so different from the way
Yeah.
Chip talked.
Everything about it. It took him, so we'd shoot the scene where they were both in it, shoot it with Chip first, and then shoot it with Dale. And then you would watch how brilliant Zach was because he had set up something with Chip that he paid off with Dale. And you would just go, oh my God, this guy is a genius.
Wow. That's
It's
very
brilliant,
cool.
brilliant.
So then how did that work then if he was playing off himself? Was there a stand-in or somebody?
Yes, there were two people who looked like there were two different people. One looked like Chip and one looked like Dale.
So wild.
And
And
that's how
Arthur,
different they are. The stand-in couldn't be the same for both.
that is interesting.
So that to me was like brilliant. Jonathan, what a great director he is. Portlandia, on and on. I can just go on and on.
Portlandia is so funny. I checked out your YouTube channel too. I didn't realize until this week that you had a YouTube channel. And I think you
Yeah, I
had an
just have
interview.
it. So no, yeah, I have
What?
it's kind of new. So,
How do you like it?
like I always say, where does it live? What is it doing? Are people watching these? How do I get something? Do I get more something out of this? Is it
Right.
good? All mistakes are forever on here. All flubs. But my interviews with Jonathan and Martha and
Yeah.
Alex Morris, beautiful interviews with.
I was so sad when I learned that was going to be it. There was going to be no more. I feel like it needs to come back. There's so much.
Well, you know
Don't
what? You
you?
could start that petition.
I
I
will
always
start
say
that petition.
because we wanted another season. We pitched it, and I have to thank FX for keeping a show on that didn't probably make any money whatsoever, but it was good for that for us, that to be believed in.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
And that must attract other people to that brand. Do you know what I mean? The fact that,
Yes.
they didn't even, I don't think they even told FX that I was going to be the mother.
Why? Really? Why not? They thought it was gonna what?
Well, until it was done. Until it was done. I don't think that FX saw it until it was all done.
So they just green lighted it and said go ahead and do it and didn't
Mm,
interfere at all.
not one bit.
And then Jonathan and Zach just went to town or what? And
Jonathan,
so
Zach, and Louie, because Louie was the
right.
person who called me on it. So
Wait,
Louie,
Louis CK called you on it.
yeah, yeah. And Jonathan was there and Zach was there when they called me.
I think I remember you talking about this. So
Yeah.
what was I think they were looking for a Louis Anderson type or something. Was there something like that?
Zach said the mother sounds like this, and he went, ah. And Louis said, that sounds like Louis Anderson. Should we just have Louis Anderson play the part? And I was thrilled. I've been waiting for that part my whole life. So
So you didn't feel
I
at
didn't even
all
know it.
you weren't
No,
like
because I did
reluctant?
my mom on stage all the time,
Uh,
I didn't know I was going to morph into a cross between my mom and all my sisters and my dad, and everybody's in there. My whole cacophony of life experiences.
So you obviously your family was huge in
Yeah.
terms of you growing up, your personality, your life, everything. Like,
Yes.
do you kind of feel like your family's always with you?
Yes, because I try to celebrate them in all of my work. And I feel like they know that I'm nothing without them. I was 10th of 11 children. So that big boiling pot of stew of, all those that came before me was just, I got to taste the best of all of it and probably the worst of all of it in some ways, but still, I think that was, I always say that I, they had to go through all their stuff. And I think it's like an alchemy, it it's just the right temperature. Do you ever taste that soup and you can never get it again?
Yeah,
You go,
yeah.
oh, I wish
You
I
don't
had
know
that
why.
soup, that lentil soup you made that one time in the 60s. Is there any way you know where that recipe is, Because the soup and the stew and all those things, that was sustenance. And so I look at families like that, a stir a big pot, and probably what you think of with your family, you're a part of. When I went in to try the clothes on for Christine, I picked out the stuff myself off the rack. It was all there. I mean,
Okay.
Amanda Needham, which we just did her, she did Portlandia and she did baskets. And there's a woman who makes Miles Ahead, which is a clothing brand, real clothes for real women. And she made all Christine's clothes.
Oh, okay.
And I just said, well, my mom or sister would wear that. Give me that big hat. Remember the hat in Easter in Bakersfield?
Of
I
course.
said, give me that hat. That's going to be a big deal. And I put that hat on and I went, oh my God, this is it. This hat is it. This is it.
I remember I'm picturing you sitting at like the kitchen table with all the other women, like your friends that would
Yes.
get together.
Yeah.
And I think you must have been wearing something and they were commenting it on or something. Or maybe was that when you were going to be on TV, right? When Christine was going to be on TV, maybe because of the rodeo.
Well, there's a couple times they always complimented me and then would slash me across the throat,
That's right.
you know.
That's it.
So when I was playing cards, but then yes, when I made my own outfit for the the rodeo, that I had a wedding dress that I redid and put that big buckle on it and the hat. I didn't do it. Somebody else made that, and that was like so you couldn't I mean that's genius, that wardrobe
Genius.
stuff. And when I saw it I went, oh my God, thank you so much, Thank you,
Right.
thank you, thank you.
Those clothes that Christine wore were so Christine. They were
Yes.
so
Well,
her.
I wanted to do a line with Miles Ahead and Amanda for Costco, the Christine Baskets collection. But you know, it's so hard to get people behind that kind of thing. And what does it mean? Is it cross dress? What does it mean for people? But I think, boy, I think my mom would have loved to have outfits like that and stuff like that. My mom would have really
Sure.
enjoyed having those beautiful drapey big girl things for a big girl, which now is much more prevalent, thank
Yeah.
God, you know. But
So how was your mom, like when you were growing up, like how did you see your mom? Who was she to you? I know it's a big question.
yeah, it is. I just saw her as actually, I saw her as you know, she was kind of could have been an actress herself. She was a little dramatic and she loved everything and loved everyone. And if she disapproved, she would just go, "Mm," like Christine. "Mm." She'd do that thing with her eye, and but she never hardly ever tore anyone down. And I think what she really was, she was like a armor between her, my dad, and us. She was in between. She took, you know how they put a tank out in front, and then they're going to shoot at it. My dad was the shooter, and he was an abuser, so he was cruel to her, but she never allowed him, at least in my growing up, get to my, I think my older brothers took a lot of abuse from my dad, but my mom didn't allow it. And I think it was really, I just admired that she could be that strong. So she was a rock that felt like when you laid on it, it was like a pillow.
That's a great description.
Yeah, because that's what it was, you know.
Yeah. The best of both.
Yeah, she
That's
was. Yeah. Oh, this isn't hard at all. This is soft.
right.
Yeah.
So you felt
She
like
was
she
everything
was
she needed to be. That's really too what it was.
everything she needed to be. And do you think all of your brothers and sisters felt the same way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as you know, in my book, my mom gave up one of her daughters to her sister who couldn't have children
Hmm.
because she had a baby back to back. My brother and my sister were born 1 year apart to the day. So, you know, she was trying to do good, and then my dad wouldn't let them adopt her, and it was just horrible, horrible stuff long before I had any idea of it. And I always feel that my sister really hurt my sister a lot. And
Yeah.
but I think my mom's intentions were good. I mean, she had
Right.
11 children, so
Right. It was a different situation, a different
she was trying to do
time.
something nice for her sister.
Yeah. Well, with all of the, the problems or all the struggles, it is interesting to me that your family still kind of stuck together in terms,
Well, you know,
right?
well, here's the thing. Yeah, we're all very close. Um, Here's the thing. Even though my dad was a miserable alcoholic and abusive person, he never left. So, in some weird way, it's like what would have happened if my mom would have left? Was there a person that would be just as bad or not? Families are such a strong system that if you try to disrupt it, they will not allow it. They do not like that idea that you're going to disrupt it under
Yeah.
any circumstances. And, I think it was a lot of pain and a lot of hardship and hard on my sisters. And, you know, my mom was more stick with it. Maybe he'll turn into a nicer person. And,
Mhm.
you know, it's a different time back then.
It was a different time. And I do
Yeah.
think that it has happened in many, families where maybe I'm not saying like she should have stayed or not. I'm not saying either way.
You're feeding back, by the way, on or I am
Oh, really?
a little when you come in closer. I think.
Then you're getting feedback.
I don't know. Maybe it's me that's getting.
Am I
don't
still?
know.
I'm
I'm
I
not sure.
still?
I just hear echo in there. You hear it?
How am I now? I'm right at my
it's
microphone.
Something like maybe it's. Let me see if it's me. Hold on. I hear it. You don't hear that?
Is it? What does it sound like? Does it sound like feedback, or does it sound like something's going on?
Reverb. It sounds like reverb, or maybe something going on. You got something going on?
There's a landscaper outside of my.
Oh, that's what it is, probably.
Does that what it sounds like though? Because it's not at my house.
It sounds like. Is that it?
Let me do something. I'm gonna
hold on. Let me. Oh yeah, go ahead. Do your thing.
It's across the street, and I'm gonna close my curtain.
So is he like digging? Is it digging? Is he grading stuff?
I hear.
It's better. It's better.
That's it. Because it just got better outside.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. Well, I just wanted you to know what it was. So
since I closed the curtains, how is my lighting? Does it look different?
It looks just as beautiful. Actually, it's better lighting now.
Is it?
Yeah, because you're vibrant against the brown. Is it brown? They're brown, right?
Yes.
The curtains, they're pretty.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, good to know because I'm seeing all of you. I don't want to. I'm up in the corner, but I see all of you on my screen, and I much prefer it that way. So
whatever you want.
Yeah. So as long as you, let me ask you a question. Help me test something, will you? We're right in the middle.
Let's do it.
I feel like
leave this in too. Leave this in because it's interesting.
Okay.
And
you are so right. These are the things
that people will mention to you forever.
You're absolutely right. So let me test this. I'm going into this different view. Did anything change on your end?
Did you just do it?
I just did it.
Oh, I didn't do it again. Now do it back.
Okay, because I'm doing I went from speaker view to the gallery view, and sometimes the tape, like what it records for me, it goes to whoever's speaking, and that's who I see. And then other times it has both of us. And I'm going to
pitch you somebody because I've been working out with a trainer in the pool, and he told me about this person he heard on Joe Rogan's podcast, who has a book called Breathe. Do you know about it?
Breathe. What
Breathe.
Is that? Who is
and the name is, let me just be a good person, James Nestor. This book, I listened to 3 hours of it last night on Audible. It changed my life already. I just want you to get that book if you can.
I will get the book for sure.
I mean, breathing. He changed the way I breathe. I have been breathing different since I listened to the 3 hours last night. For me to sit and listen to a podcast, a book, an audio book.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff. It changed my life. I've already told 10 people about it. Everybody I talk to, I go, you got to get this book. You have anybody with asthma? You have anybody with breathing problems? You have anybody with a weight problem? You have anybody with any problems? It probably has to do with the breathing and their breath and how they're breathing.
You already told 10 people since last night. How many people do you talk to on a daily basis?
Well, not a text with somebody I have a friend who has asthma. So I reached out to him because I said, listen, you're going to drive to California from here, get that book and listen to it. It could cure your asthma.
Wait, somebody with asthma is driving to California from far away right now?
They're going to this week. Yeah.
Because the numbers are a little high in California.
I know, but they're going to a remote place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would have said the same thing, but you know what I stopped doing? Trying to control stuff. Like what people are doing. They've already made up their mind. Why do I need to throw a wrench in it? There are people who are in their 60s. If they don't know what's scary, they're not stupid. So I can't. If they are still alive, they're still doing okay then. They must be being careful.
So what did you use to tell people what to do a lot?
Well, I would just, I'd have to get involved because that's my mom, Well, you know what I heard? You should be careful because that's Christine.
Right.
Well, I heard that it was a mess over there, and I just don't want anyone. I don't want you over there. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But that's not all she's going to say about it.
Right.
Did you go over there? Did I tell you it was a mess? See? No one listens to me.
But that's how you are too, your work.
No, I try not to be that way. Because
Okay.
you know what? I don't have any control over what people are going to do. You
Right.
grow up in a family like mine, you think you have some control, but you really have none.
I would think you would feel like you had no control growing up in a family like yours, so big.
Well, I have a big ego, and I thought I had some sort of control. I'm a comedian. We think we're in charge of the world. Don't you think comedians, I think they're know-it-alls.
Do you think?
Well,
You know them
I
better than
mean,
I do.
yeah, I mean, like I think that doing a podcast, you're a know-it-all. Because you think you can sit and talk to people and make it interesting. That's a high and mighty thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just who I am. My father was an entertainer, and my mother should have been. And so what was my, I when I say things, people would laugh, and I go, oh, I should probably try this comedy.
I mean, you seem so like relaxed about the whole thing
I
that
am,
you are. But is that
but
because you've been
I get anxious and have a lot of fear and anxiety because I grew up in that abusive household. So I have all that at all times. But I've worked really hard and through a lot of therapy. What I always say is all the worry in the whole world cannot prolong your life 1 second. So why give it any gravitas? Every prayer I've ever read says let go. Every book, every yogi, every person says let go. Let go, let God, let go of things. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just stick with today, you know? And
yeah,
so I think that stuff rubs off on you. I'm not saying I can always do it.
right. But you just said that you feel like anxious all the time. It's with you all the time, but
I
you
mean,
don't.
yeah, I'm so sensitive. Like when I watch the news and I see the tragedies and the stuff like that, I go, I think when you grow up in an alcoholic family, you feel responsible for the alcoholic somewhere as a
Yeah.
kid. You
Yeah.
just
Which
do.
of
It's just
course is
normal.
faulty thinking, but it's very
It's
normal.
It's just
It's
that, well, I wonder
typical.
if it's me. One day you just said, I wonder if it's me. Maybe I should be a better child. Anyway, so I think I do that, but I think I dismiss it almost immediately now. I think I go, you're crazy, Louie.
That's very good to get to that
Yeah.
point and to be able to do that.
Yeah, only 67 years.
Did therapy
Sure.
do it a lot? Is that a lot of it?
Yeah, and life. Because, if you have life and you're always worried and nothing manifests of that worry, then you
Yeah.
realize, what are you worried about?
Right. But not everybody does that naturally. Like it's,
I don't think I do it naturally. I think I just am that kind of person who's more internal, and on my external, I look really calm.
you do look
So,
very calm
yeah,
externally.
because I think calming is what's good for people. And so I'm a caretaker. So I want people to feel
Oh.
comfortable.
And that is really powerful because, right, you definitely give that vibe off. Like, even the second I saw you on the screen and we started talking, totally relaxed and natural.
Right.
You,
I would
it
have been a good
works.
therapist. I would have been a really good therapist because I'm not out to hurt anyone.
You
I'm
know,
out
I
to
was a
I'm
therapist.
oh I didn't know that.
I
But
was.
Dennis Quaid said your thing was like therapy for him.
I was a therapist. And
Yeah.
so I think that I see through things a little bit through that filter, not really even through a filter, but I'm just always so interested in the actual experience and like what you're really feeling and thinking and going through. And I always, like you, I want everybody on the other end of me to feel at ease.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
see.
why you're really good at what you do, because this is a conversation we're having. You don't have a overwhelming agenda, and
Hmm.
I am completely relaxed and comfortable, and I felt it right away. Like you and I would know each other in life if we were,
Yes.
well, we do now. We're friends for
Yes.
life now. How about this though? Isn't this a good setup? I always wanted to be Madonna, so
I have to
no,
say your sound is very good.
they are good.
Yeah. So
39
I wouldn't,
bucks. 39
how much?
bucks. So $39.
39 bucks
Amazon.
for the headset?
I'll send you the link. On my mother. 39. Why should I pay 89?
Right.
At 39, I got them. I even bought a person that worked with me. I got them a pair. After I got them and I tried them, I go, I'm sending you a pair. Because that's who my mom was too. A very giving person. And it's amazing how surprised people are that you might send them a gift.
That's interesting. Yes.
It's always amazing to me. We should be sending each other gifts at all times,
Right. But
right?
I also like the gift that's for no reason except that the person was like you're doing. But to
Yeah.
me, the gift giving at a certain occasion actually stresses me out a little because I always feel
Oh,
like I don't know what the other person's really going to like. And it could be somebody super close to me. But I'm
yeah.
always like, I don't really know. I
Well,
don't
you're not
know.
looking at that person then.
That, but
Look
I
at all
am.
the
That's the
things
whole.
but look at the things that they like. Like if my friend is doing lots of work on podcasts and radio and stuff, so he's going to like these,
Yes. But I think
right?
you have to think about it. It's more natural when you're thinking about it during the year, let's say, instead of at Christmas or birthday or something like that, right? Because then you have to suddenly be like, well, what? Yeah, but I know what you're saying. Like, well, then
You
how am I
should
even
just,
tuned in? That's
yeah,
really what it
but
sounds like.
you of all people
Right.
should
It's
know
not that
what
I'm
they
not tuned
want.
in.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
I'm also not a stuff person. I'm not a stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
then you
not
should
a,
give them something you would like that had made you happy, and you should give it to them. I really enjoyed this. I thought you might like it too. So they know what your intentions were of giving
Mhm.
them the mud pack treatment that, or whatever it is, right?
Right. Something Italian.
I remember going to Italy and going to the place where they make the tiles, all the beautiful tiles, and
Oh, I didn't do that
buying like a few boxes of beautiful Italian tiles I still have that I never
in the
have
box.
put up. I probably still have them in the box.
So you're outside of Vegas now, right? Is that where you live, outside of
Yeah,
Vegas? So how
Henderson.
did you land there, and how does it feel?
Well, 12 years ago, they called my friend Adam Stack, who has Spy Entertainment, who did lots of different shows here. He's involved in all, like tons of shows. Um, and he said, "Do you want to do a show in Vegas?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." I think my manager at the time also was instrumental in that, but he wanted me to do a show. So I moved here 12 years ago and did a show at the Excalibur for 6 years, and then one at the Palace Station for 3 years, and then the Plaza Hotel I did for 1 year, and that's when I got the Christine job. And so I stopped and just did that. I'm probably wrong on about the years, but it doesn't matter. But um, and then in 1984, I've been working in Vegas. Actors go to New York, movie stars go to LA, and comedians, Vegas is their true home, because the headline in Vegas with your name and headlining, that's the ultimate thing for a comedian. That's Lenny Bruce,
Right.
that's Buddy Hackett, that's
Uh-huh.
Don Rickles, that's Johnny Carson, who worked down the street at the Sahara, Bob, all those comedians. And so when you're a comedian, Rodney and all those
I was
people.
just gonna say, what about Rodney
Yeah,
Dangerfield?
Rodney. Yeah, we were good friends always. Yeah.
You were? That's
When I lived in Minnesota, we had a little club called Mickey Finn's, and so Rodney was coming, and Jeff Gerbino, who's a comedian, who kind of started that club or was one of the founding members. said we should go see Rodney. And I go, yeah. I said we should get some balloons, which they thought was silly, but very Minnesotan. And then I heard that Rodney liked scotch. So I went to the liquor store and got a bottle of Glenlivet scotch, and I brought it. And he was so touched by the fact that I brought him that scotch. He brought it up till the day he died to people. I remember when Louis, hey kid, how are you? You know, um, and he and I stayed friends, and I'm still friends with his widow. And he was a beautiful. I always hugged him. He was not really thrilled about my big hugs all the time, but
He wasn't like
Rodney
a
probably wasn't.
touchy-feely?
No, he just like, he comes from a different era where men probably don't hug people as much.
Uh-huh.
But I always gave him a big hug and told him I loved him. And yeah, don't you though? But that kind of thing. He was just a lovely. I saw through. I grew up with an alcoholic father, so I
Yes, you
saw
could
a
see it.
person. I could see the difficulty he had with it, and so
Right. So
I
he
didn't
was
do
very
it.
depressed, right? Depressed.
I mean, that was part of his character in a lot of
Oh,
ways.
really? Because I
Yeah,
thought,
I mean, younger, but I think he was in a maybe. I mean, comedians are at any moment could go there because that's the stew we sit in.
uh-huh.
But the stew's only this deep, so you could choose to get out of it if you want by standing up.
Okay.
So I heard that from a therapist once. Well, you're laying in about a foot of water, if that. So you could just get up and get
That
out of
is
that
brilliant.
water. And
That's
I said,
brilliant.
and that always resonated with me that I was choosing to be in that self-pity, depressed state. I mean, mostly I just want, I have so much joy. I couldn't be any happier and more grateful. I'm humbled by everything that's going on for me and still is after 42 years. Who am I to complain about anything?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I
you're living a
mean,
good life. You've had it. You've
I
gotten
have.
everywhere and more than you ever would have dreamed about, right?
And
Like,
my
well,
best stuff is yet to come.
you believe that.
I believe it.
I believe it too. I
Yeah,
believe it
like,
about you. I believe it about me.
yes.
I believe it should be about everybody.
Listen, this hour has blown by. Am I right? Right? I'm just saying, this has been like we just started talking
Yes. Yes.
because we are riding the joy of life
Right. Yes.
and we are surfing above, dipping in below, but we are going somewhere. We're zooming, literally,
That's right. We
and we're
are.
having a ball. You know, I just, I just can't. I'd be ashamed of myself during this, especially during this pandemic, to be complaining about one thing. There's so many people in need out there.
Yeah.
Um, you and I could do another podcast just about what we could do to help people during this time, you know.
Yeah.
One of the best gifts you could give somebody is, especially nowadays, um, a food bank thing in their name. You know, there's people that have never gone to a food bank before in their entire life. We used to go to food banks all the time growing up, and churches and different organizations would bring us food, especially at holidays. And I always thought, what a nice thing that these people who don't know us brought us to make sure that we had a nice Thanksgiving,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And it
right?
makes such a difference. It's not like
Are you
meaningless.
kidding
It's
me?
totally meaningful.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
very meaningful to have an extra turkey for
Yeah.
11 kids and to have, just,
But see, isn't
you
it
know,
interesting though? Because you didn't grow up feeling sorry for yourself. Or you
well, a
don't even,
little bit probably with an alcoholic father, a little bit, but you're right. But we didn't dwell on the fact we were poor.
right.
We
Right.
said, how can we get a few bucks to, get some French vanilla ice cream and some root beer?
Right. But feeling sorry for yourself, maybe you said maybe a little bit, but is it feeling sorry for yourself when you're really just struggling with the conditions that you're in? I don't know that you really would define it as feeling sorry for yourself, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
no, I
didn't.
think yes, yes, and no. But we did. I think I did. I think I did feel sorry
Okay.
for myself
And then, but
because,
you tried it.
well, because I had this mother who had a merry-go-round going around her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was pure joy, pure hope. My dad quit drinking when he was 69. She turned to me and said, I told you he'd quit. I mean, come on. That's a hopeful person. That's
Yes,
a hopeful
yes.
person. If you witness joy in a person for 77 years, you're going to take a pocket full of that joy, aren't you?
Totally. So and
And
this is why
I can
it's
scoop into that pocket at any time I want. I can
right.
find the good in the worst situations.
What
I
a
guarantee
gift.
you. Well, I'm hopeful.
Do you
We
think
have to be
she
hopeful right now, especially.
definitely? Do you think
And people
she
have to
was
vote,
able? People do have to vote.
you
Let's
know?
interrupt this program for this
Yeah.
very important
Well,
message.
just because this is important on so many levels. I don't care who you vote for either. You just have to vote. That's the most
Everybody.
important thing, everybody. So anyways, but you were saying, I'm
I
sorry
was
I
saying,
interrupted that because that
oh,
was a
please.
beautiful thing you had going.
Here's what I wanted to know is do you think your mom knew that she gave you those things? Like, do you think she saw in you and reflected on it and said to herself, "I- this is good. Whatever I want, I passed it on to Louie."
She must have, huh?
I think so.
Because you know, she must have. She must have. I think she was a bright, sparkling light. And I don't know that she had any control of that. I wish I knew the answers, but I don't need to know them to live that life.
Definitely.
You don't have to have the answer
No,
to
you
live a
don't.
great life. Am I right?
Totally.
Yeah.
To- so, yes.
It took me an hour and 10 minutes to get you to say totally.
No, I've said it
No,
before, I'm
I know,
sure.
I know. I'm just teasing you.
I'm from New Jersey. I would say it
You know,
more often than
I have 5 sisters, so I tease. I'm a good teaser.
I like being teased. I have a much
Yeah,
smaller family than you, but that's
yeah,
what we do too. And it's part of it. It's the fun of life. So I like
yeah.
to be teased too.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What is your goal in every podcast?
To get to know the person I'm talking to. That's
That's
really get to know the person. That's it.
so
You
we're
know,
like halfway there, right?
we're gonna have to work a little harder.
I think we could do another podcast though, quite honestly. I think
I'm
this is
sure.
part one.
Let's do a part two. We
And then I
can
could I can tell you how I moved to California and all that kind of stuff that I think will be helpful to people with their careers.
and
Because I do
that
think that people need help with their careers, especially now. I'll say one thing to people.
yeah.
Don't give up. Stay in the line or the queue or whatever you want to call it to get on the ride of show business or music or whatever you're doing. Stay in the queue. Don't
Mhm.
get out of the queue because in the queue you might meet somebody or you might see somebody or you might see something or you might experience yourself or your legs and your stamina and your heart and your soul get stronger.
That is beautiful advice. And from you, then they need to know, whoever's listening, this is advice from Louie Anderson. So he knows what's what, right?
I
So
mean,
it's,
at 61, I got my dream part of a lifetime.
yes,
So,
yes.
and I
And that
always
was
knew I
from
would.
staying in line. Well, you weren't in line. You're not in line
I was in
anymore,
line because I was in line because I hadn't got the acting part I wanted.
but
So I
you
wasn't
wanted an
taken
acting part. What's that?
seriously. I always talked to my agents about getting me a great acting part, and they never did. They never did it.
Did they
And
try, do you think?
I think I was part of the problem.
How?
I wasn't doing work enough. I wasn't being, I'm the kind of guy who might wait around for the people who work for me instead of being more bombastic,
Got it.
people who are more bombastic. Joan Rivers told me once, get rid of your management and agents every 4 years because they start taking you for granted.
You
And I
know,
thought, wow, that's a really fascinating line.
I read one of her books like a couple of months ago, randomly. I don't know
We
why.
were good friends too.
You were. She was.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I didn't. Like I didn't follow her that closely when she was alive, but I went back to her book and I was like, hey, she's she's a kick-ass woman right here.
She's a pioneer.
Yeah, and
She
I
just
was reading
didn't,
about
people
it.
didn't like what she had to say. Joan Rivers was way ahead of her time because right now she'd be right on point.
Truth.
Maybe not with all the, taking shots at people, but it was always truth in the taking
Uh-huh.
shots.
Uh-huh. So,
Yeah.
but she said, but I
Melissa, her
interrupted
daughter's
you.
a lovely person too, but
Okay.
she said that to me, get rid of your agents every 4 years or 2 years or something because they start taking you for granted.
But you didn't do that, or did you?
I didn't
You
usually.
didn't
No, because
until.
I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
So are they still the same guys or
No,
women?
no.
So at some point you stop.
Yeah. I mean, you can't expect people to work for you if you don't give them something to sell. If their job is to sell stuff and to get you jobs, you better provide them with exactly what you want and how you want it and when you want it.
But interestingly, your best role did not come from an agent. It came from somebody who knew you personally.
Almost all my work came from that. We could go over that the next time.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to
I
put a
just have a
list of things.
2:30. I have a
Yeah.
2:30 phone call, but
So
we
let's
could have
wrap
talked
this
for
up.
2 more hours.
Let's do part 2. We'll plan part 2, and I'll
Yeah.
have something to look forward to. And
Part 2 with Lou.
we'll talk part 2 with Lou. We'll talk about your move to California, all the other comedians. What did we just say? All your jobs that came from friends.
Yeah.
We'll touch on all of that next time.
Yeah. And even if we don't do it.
No.
There it is. No. Who's that? Who says that? Your mom?
No.
Is that your own thing? Is that your own thing? No. Did some teacher, did some coach?
You know what?
No,
It's my dad. It's my
your
dad.
No. We're going to do that right now. Huh? Props to your dad.
I think he wouldn't say we're going to do that right now. He'd say, no. That's not the right thing to do. That's not right.
Yeah.
I think that's who it's from.
And we could do mom and dadisms next time too. Then.
Well, let's do that too. I'll write it down. Let's do all that. And I want to get you off in time for your 2:30.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be okay. But
do I have to wait
the
another year?
The whole time, I was saying, is it Cara or Kara?
Kara.
It's Kara.
And I'll tell, yeah.
But I think it's people's biggest fear when they're talking to you. Is it Cara
Really?
or Kara?
Oh.
So you should do in the first person, me being Kara, or whatever it is that you need to do at the beginning of that podcast.
I'll do that. It's funny because at the end I do it. Here's what I tell everybody at the end, or I ask everybody. I say, will you do me this one favor before we end, just to do a little testimonial that I can put on social media? So I say,
oh, yeah. Okay.
So I say, so you're going to say this, I'm just going to do it like I would normally.
Yeah.
So you're going to say, hi, this is Louie Anderson. I just talked to Kara. And then you say anything you want. That's what I say it at the end, but I hear what you're saying. I'm going to take that advice.
Yeah. Why not?
At the beginning. Yeah.
So that everybody knows. Always.
Yes. And it's funny because you say this because I'm always curious about what it's like for you on the other end. And I always, since I want you to be comfortable and whatever, I want to remove anything that would make you uncomfortable. So you just gave me a big helpful tip that I will use.
Okay.
I need to tell everybody how to pronounce my name from the beginning.
So I just got done talking to Kara.
Yes. I just finished talking to Kara.
Want?
I just talked to Kara, whatever, anything
I got
like
you.
that.
I got it. Ready?
You going to do it?
Yeah.
All right. Look at the camera.
Dude. How about if I just look right here? Wouldn't that be better? Huh? Hi, Louie Anderson here. I just got done talking to Kara. Kara? Kara, is it Kara?
No.
It's Kara, right?
Think of it this way. It's you care about me.
Okay,
Care.
got it. I got it. But that will be funny if you put that on, you know.
Of course that will be funny.
Yeah. Hi, I just got done talking to Kara. I'm really famous. Finally. Please listen to our podcast. We did an hour and plus, and we're going to do part 2. You got to hear it. It's so much fun. It was so real. It was so genuine. And it was so lovely, like her.
Okay, so that was my talk with Louie Anderson, and there will be a part 2. Don't forget to subscribe, and you'll get it as soon as I record it, or at least as soon as I edit it and upload it to YouTube. Thanks for watching.
If you like this video, please make sure you smash that like button and tap on subscribe for more real talks with your favorite celebrities. If you didn't like it, that's okay. Make sure you tell all your friends to check out Really Famous with Kara Mayer Robinson. They're the worst videos ever. You've got to check them out.